You ever come home after a long day just hoping for a little peace, and instead you find your wife's urn sitting on the mantel surrounded by strangers setting up chafing dishes and folding chairs? That was the scene waiting for me the day the HOA president decided my grief was just another resource for her to manage. I'm talking caterers in my kitchen tablecloths draped across every surface, and some guy in a chef's coat grinning at me like I was the hired help. I wish I was making this up. But nope. This was real life after I bought a crumbling old lake mansion to try to patch up the silence left behind after Eleanor died. All I wanted was quiet. Instead, I got Karen. Now, most folks would run from an HOA neighborhood, but not me. After nearly 70 years in courtrooms and on job sites, rules sounded like a good thing, like guardrails for a life turned upside down. I figured all those bylaws might finally keep the peace I'd been chasing since Eleanor passed, so I spent 6 months breathing new life into that house down to the studs. Did everything by the book too, permits inspections, the whole 9 yards. Even went to the trouble of getting the place certified as a potential rental just in case. But really it wasn't about the money. It was about having choices, proof that the house was mine no matter what. But if you think paperwork can keep trouble away, you've never met someone like Karen Marson. The first time she emailed me, it was all sugar, telling me how my restoration had made the house the crown jewel of the lake. She wanted to borrow it for a neighborhood welcome event. I told her politely that I wasn't ready for company, especially not with Eleanor's ashes still sitting on the mantel. I figured that was the end of it. You know what I mean? Guess again. The very next day I left for an hour to pick up wood stain. When I pulled back into my drive, there were white vans everywhere, event parking signs, the works. I get to my front door, which I no asterisk, I locked and find it hanging open. Strangers everywhere, draping string lights, lugging in food. The chef gives me that we're right on schedule smile. I must have looked like I'd seen a ghost, because he started fumbling with his phone, swearing up and down that Karen sent him a contract with my signature on it. Said the deposit was paid, guests were coming, all the boxes checked. And right there on his screen was a digital signature I recognized from my old legal filings. But I'd never seen that document in my life. That's when the old courtroom instincts kicked in. I asked him to send me a copy, told the staff firm, but calm, that there was no event today, and they were trespassing. My voice must have had that lawyer's edge because nobody argued. I locked the gate, called Karen, and got hit with that patronizing, "Don't be selfish, Paul" routine. Not a hint of apology, just straight to guilt. Like asterisk, I asterisk was the villain for wanting to grieve in my own home. But see, what Karen didn't know was that digital lies always leave footprints. I sent the contract to my niece Trish, paralegal, sharper than a box of tacks. Before she even called back, I noticed something. The contract was supposedly just finalized, but the details were way too specific for a last-minute deal. Sure enough, Trish checked the metadata. The PDF was created weeks before Karen ever emailed the caterer. She'd forged my signature, built a fake paper trail, and then tried to bulldoze me with HOA muscle. And the HOA wasn't subtle about their muscle either. The next morning, I got an official email, refused to host, pay A+ $2,000 a day fine. Oh, and by the way, I'd supposedly given a verbal agreement weeks ago, total fiction. But lucky for me, my front door camera tells no lies. Every face, every delivery, every mailbox run recorded and time-stamped. Not a single visit from Karen or her buddies. They'd built their whole case on air. Then came the public shaming. Karen sent out a blast email to the HOA calling me bitter and difficult, even claimed she had keys to my house, never happened. She plastered flyers around the neighborhood painting me as a recluse, breaking promises I never made. I could feel the walls closing and her power play was in full swing. But I didn't get angry. I got organized. Come Monday, my kitchen table looked like it used to before trial, legal pad, evidence binder, black coffee. I wrote down every step from the forged contract to the shaming flyers. For a week, Karen kept escalating apology letters. that were really traps, new documents for me to sign that would have erased her wrongdoing and made me look like I'd just forgotten a chat. Nice try. I marked them up, filed them away. Document everything, that's the rule. Then came the twist. Security camera caught Ed, the HOA treasurer, with two goons by my garage. They tried the door, failed. Then Ed muttered, "Maybe we just cut the power on party day. He'll cave when the air conditioning goes off. Sabotage on tape." At that point, I wasn't just fighting a paper war. I was fortifying my home. Called up Dave, a retired electrician, and together we locked down the electrical panel, installed a backup battery, even hid a little camera to catch any would-be saboteurs. When the party day finally arrived, it was chaos cars clogging my street guests' confused DJ van, stranded at the gate. Karen showed up in a white dress, looking for all the world like Martha Stewart's evil twin. She called the cops, and I'll admit my heart rate spiked a bit when I saw those uniforms. But I had my documents ready, every lie, every fake, every timestamp. I calmly explained the whole mess, showed the officers the paperwork. They looked at Karen, looked at me, and said, "Ma'am, this is a civil matter. We can't make him open his gate." That was it. Her authority collapsed in real time. Did she back down? Of course not. She doubled down, emailed the whole party guest list claiming I was unstable, dangerous. I added it all to the binder, defamation right on top. Monday morning, I filed a lawsuit against Karen, Ed, the HOA, and anyone else who'd put their name on the lies. Plus $100, 000, fraud, trespass, defamation, conspiracy to commit property damage, every brick in her wall of intimidation. 2 weeks later, we were all in court. I didn't need a lawyer. Truth doesn't stutter. Judge gave me 5 minutes. I only needed 3. I walked the judge through 4 pieces of evidence, forged contract, with impossible dates, video proof that no verbal deal happened, the neighborhood flyers, and the tape of Ed plotting sabotage. Karen tried to worm her way out, but the judge cut her off. This court finds in favor of the plaintiff for the full amount of $100, 000, she ruled. You're lucky he didn't press criminal charges. Gavels don't usually sound that sweet, but let me tell you, it echoed like thunder. The real fallout wasn't just the money, though. The HOA insurance check felt like poetic justice. It was the end of Karen's reign. She resigned in disgrace. Power shifted. My neighbor Jerry, who never wanted the job, became president and immediately passed a rule never again would an event be planned on private property without formal notarized written consent. I think I covered all the bases, he told me, holding up his clipboard with a grin. I finished the bookshelf I'd started months before, set Eleanor's ashes on top, and looked out over the lake, a place finally truly mine. All the chaos, all the noise boiled down to one thing: bullies thrive on drama, but they crumble in the face of calm, organized truth. You don't have to shout when the facts are loud enough. So what would you have done if someone forged your signature through a party in your home and tried to ruin your name? Would you fight back or just walk away? Drop your thoughts below. Share your stories about standing up for what's right, about HOAs gone rogue or times you had to outsmart a bully. Let's hear where you're watching from too, because in the end, the only thing louder than a bully is the sound of a community that refuses to back down.